And welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. This is
See,
Steve here with
see, you
Derrick.
start with a duck. I'm sorry, Barrett isn't here, so I got to do his cold opens.
Baron, if you're watching,
Oh
we
no,
love
you got
you.
to end with it. Where that, and that's the reason why you never feed a duck.
That's why you never feed dog. Exactly. That's a joke if you watch our co-op chats because, man, uh, Baron is awesome, but he always does cold starts for us, so it's hilarious. So we got a lot of people on chat, so I see a lot here.
Yeah,
I
this is
see
gonna be
Ryan. Hey
amazing.
Ryan, how's it going? Matthew. Yes, it was so good to meet you, Matthew. Yes, it was awesome hanging out with you, playing games with you, and T-minus 359 more days. I know. Can't wait for Gen Con again. Let's see. We got Powell, Family Farm. Welcome. Nice to see you here as well. Brian, welcome. Yes, we survived Gen Con, and actually, speaking of wilds, I think Derek and I did pretty good. So,
Yep, I had a goal and I achieved my goal, and I stopped
only
after
bought
I achieved my goal.
yeah, only bought a couple games, so I'm pretty happy about that. And one of them obviously is Spider-Geddon, and that was like the must get for both of us.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hey,
That I'm gonna tell that story on this stream. I said at the lunchtime stream, I said I had a funny story of it, but I will tell that story on the stream.
yes. Hey, pressed on not live. Welcome. The haul video. Ooh, that's not much of a haul video. It's gonna be like a couple minutes.
Well, I all the pictures when I went to I took my big camera
Yeah.
and I took that to Gen Con and I took a ton of pictures with that, but I've shared it all on my Discord because my patrons get first dibs. But I plan to release all those pictures so everyone could see them in short order. But yeah, they're up on my Discord
He's a
presently.
professional.
I am a professional.
Hi, Kate. Nice to
Yeah.
see you here. Welcome. And
Yay. And Elaine.
Elaine. Welcome.
All
Okay.
right. So let's regale you with story. Let's regale you with story. So we've
Yes.
got an order of operation for the stream, right? Like we got an order of operation. We're gonna talk about Marvel Spider-Geddon. We're gonna talk about villains. We're gonna answer your questions. We're gonna do all that stuff from because Steve and I personally we played all the villains, and I think you've played all the heroes. I haven't played one. I started playing one on Sunday, but then you had to head out, so I didn't get a chance to fully finish playing Anti-Venom. But you've played all of them. I've played all but one, so we could talk about that, locations, expectations, like the stream says for season 3 off of what Spider-Geddon's given, which we're super excited to talk about. But we're gonna start with story. So I woke up at about 5 in the morning on what was that, Friday? When the lines were awful. So
Oh
on
yeah.
Friday,
Yeah.
and I went down to stand in line. 5 in the morning. I went down about 6 o'clock, and I got to the convention center about 6 o'clock. By this time, the Lorcana line was out the door, but the line to get into the exhibit hall to get to Spin Master's booth was fairly empty. There was one other guy there, and so I decided to sit on one of the chairs on the side instead of at the gate. Up comes 5 more people, so I said, okay, time to get in line. So I get in line, and within an hour it fills up quickly. Steve's like, hey, I'm on the way, I'm coming, I'll be there soon. So I'm sitting there in line. I'm an extrovert, so I'm talking to everybody, right? I'm vomiting my extrovertness on everyone. And so met some really cool people. Actually met some guys who, kind of like that 6 degrees of separation, who knew a person that I knew, who had passed away. And so we were chatting about that. We were chatting about all this other stuff. And then, Steve, by the time you got there, how big was the pushback line?
The pushback of like how many people were there? I don't know.
Yeah, how many people were there?
40 maybe? 30, 40?
About 40 people
Yeah.
clustering at the ropes.
Yeah.
So I made a space for Steve to come up because I was like, nope, we're going in together.
Thank you.
And
Thank
so
you.
he comes up to the front. And as we're talking and we're talking to everybody else, we don't pay attention to the growing mob behind us. And so I turn around to because I'm at the front now. I'm at the front on the other, by the ribbon. It's me and this other guy. And I turn around just to kind of talk to Steve instead of talking to him from behind me. And you could not see the floor. It was filled with people. I took some pictures and I think I posted those ones as well. But you couldn't see the floor whatsoever. The place was filled with people. It was crowded. And I took a step back. And when I took a step back, the mob moved forward. And so, and every time I was like, oh, okay, I'm feeling a little intimidated. I'm going to take another step back. The mob kept moving forward to the point where I was on the other side of the rope.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't get back because it was so crowded. And the lady was cool. I mean, she was very kind. She understood what was going on because I was getting scared that they'd be like, "No, you can't stand here. You got to go to the back of the line." And I was like, "No." So then we just wait. The doors open, and I briskly walk. I briskly walk to the Spin Master's booth, where there was already a line of about, I'd probably say, 7 people standing in line.
Yeah.
So from what I gather, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there are VIP badges that you can buy to get
VIG. Yeah.
into VIGs.
Yeah, very important gamer is the term. And then basically, these are folks that spend extra money. They get first dibs at the hotels, and they get early entry into the vendor hall as well.
Yeah, so there were 7 of them already in line. So I got in line. I got there, got my place in line, and then Steve's coming up, and I'm like, "Steve, get in line." So I was like, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna go to the back." I was like, "No, this is the reason why we came here." So we stood together. We were able to purchase Marvel Unit. We got Spider-Geddon, and we got the Sinister promo cards, as well as Wong from San Diego Comic Con for Marvel Zombies, which makes me super happy because I have all that coming, and Coulson. So we got everything that we came for. I came back the day after, no, the day prior. I had only gotten another Mr. Sinister deck, but I got that for Diversion Architect, which is Dave. If you see him, because he was saying, "Hey, can you get me one?" And then every day I was going to try to go get a free one because the scalpers drive me nuts, and I just want to offset them by saying, "Hey, here's a free one,"
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But I was only able to get mine and Dave's, so he's got his coming for free. And if someone wants me to, I'm gonna find a way, but I'll ask to see. I'll ask Andrea if it's cool if it's scanned, so we can put those out there because promos are tough, right? Everybody wants to. There are people who want to be completionists and get everything, and promos make it hard. I'm talking a lot, so I need to stop and let Steve talk. But promos are hard because they are inherently biased.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? It means that if you don't have the means to get to the con and pay to get in, you're automatically null and void of being able to get them. Is the way I feel about certifications. Not everyone can afford a certification, right? Or to take the test. So it's inherently biased. So
Yep.
as promos being inherently biased, I want to find a way to make it not. And I don't want to do it disrespectfully. So that's why I said I was going to message Andrea and just be like, "Hey, if I do a high quality scan of these promos, can we put them out into the ether for those who could not afford to go to Gen Con? Those who don't live in an area, like, let's say, for instance, we've got viewers that live in Australia, and it's very expensive for them to get the Gen Con, to first the flight, the hotel, maybe they got kids that need to get watched. They can't make it. They just can't. So does that automatically say that they don't matter? I don't think that's what Spin Masters is saying. I think like those are one of the things that need to cross people's mind when it comes to these inherent bias things, right? So I would like everyone who likes the game to be able to get it, and so therefore I'm gonna ask them if it's cool if this is done, so I don't, we don't get the people who are saying, "You're plagiarizing my work." So we'll see how that works. Anyway, Steve, I'm gonna stop talking. You go.
No, no, I completely agree. Was there Thursday trying to get the Spider-Geddon and the promos, and they sold out before we could get it. I got in line at 10:05 because I didn't want to be part of the huge mass, right? I've done that. I've tried to avoid it. Obviously, we didn't avoid it on Friday because we couldn't get the cut. Because when I got in line, it sold out before I could get there. The line actually wrapped around the booth twice. It was crazy. So I missed out Thursday. We luckily got Friday. Saturday we had other engagements, but Sunday we tried again to try, like you said, to get promos because we're both of the same mindset. If we can get a promo to avoid scalpers and like give it to you guys who watch, that's ideally what we'd like to do. Unfortunately, we weren't
Yeah.
able to do it, but
Yeah, we were like we I think we were 5 away from getting it,
yeah.
and they had run out by the time they got to us, which was unfortunate.
And I don't mind that as long as the people in front of us were like actually wanted it and weren't scalping it. Totally fine
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but we were just like, hey, and avoid the scalpers. We'll see. So,
Yeah, but we did get we both did get, this was our thing to get at Gen Con. We oh, no problem, Kate. But we did get we were able to pick up Spider-Geddon. I played it on the channel. I played against Spot because I asked Facebook and Discord who they want to see me fight. And one gentleman on Facebook said he wants to see Scarlet Spider. So I played it today at the lunchtime stream, so you can all see me play against Spot, so you can see that fight angle, right? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about more locations, and we're going to talk about all the villains because I know you're super curious about how these villains shake out, how the heroes shake out, and how that stuff goes. So, Steve, what do you want to start with first?
I'll just add to that. You can be guaranteed we'll be showing you playthroughs of all the stuff. So,
Yes.
so
Yes.
come to you
Yes. You
guys.
will see everything.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you did Spot today. I'll be doing tomorrow. Morlun. So,
Morlun. Yeah.
yep. So we'll be doing him as well. So, but yeah, when we were playing this game and we happened to play through all the content, I started coming to some. I had some expectations going to season 3 and playing this, which is part of season 3, kind of not right. It's released at the same time, but it's retail. It gave us a taste on the new mechanics. I felt like it would be a really good opportunity to take our experiences and kind of share that with you guys. Like, here's our experiences, and how's it tied to season 3? So, so
Yeah.
hey Dan,
Yeah.
nice to see you.
I did give Dan a hug. So yeah, I agree with that. It definitely set my expectations and answered a lot of questions for me from just this box on
Yep.
what's coming in season 3. I know there'll be more and there'll be different avenues of things, but it set the tone
Right.
for
Right.
what the expectation is for season 3 for
And
sure.
as we go through this, if you guys have any questions on any of the content, let us know. I've got stuff prepared so we can pull up on screen to show you guys. So,
Yep.
okay. Should we dive into probably what is in Spider-Geddon and talk about that a little bit to set the kind of share what our expectations are?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. So I have Spider-Geddon pulled up here, the article from Simon. So there's a lot of content in this one. You're looking at 6 heroes, 2 anti-heroes, and 2 villains. So quite a bit of content in this one. It is a full core set, so you get all the tokens you need from it, which is great. They had 8 locations, so good amount of variety. I am actually pretty, just talk about this set by itself. It seems like a good buy, honestly.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. If someone this will be available at retail for
Yes.
people who are like, "Oh man, I didn't get to go to Gen Con, so I missed Spider-Geddon." No, it's coming to retail. We'll talk about that fiasco in a little bit, but it's coming to retail, and I think that this is a good value. My first go would always be for people to used to be for people to, if people are getting into Marvel United for the first time, to grab the core box of X-Men, the X-Men core box from season 2 as your starter point. I still stand by that and still think that it's a good value for that. However, because of Into the Spider-Verse and all the other, and people really love Spider-Man, I think this is a good one as well for people to get into it for the first time.
I think so too. I think this one is maybe a little bit more complex than X-Men Core. I feel.
Yes, it is. It is more complex, but I think like
It's not a
well,
big difference.
Well, I think the location complexities have upped a little from core
Sure,
from X-Men
it's
core.
true. Yep.
The villains themselves are they add some mechanics
Yeah.
that adds to the variety of it. But I still stand by that this I mean from my standpoint, I'm not going to speak for you, but from my standpoint, getting this, if someone says I don't have any Marvel United and this is a deal or this is on sale or on Amazon, which we'll talk about, go ahead and pick it up. I think it's a good intro as well.
I think so
But
too.
I will always default to X-Men first.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too. Default X-Men, but if someone saw this, no questions. It's definitely worth it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Well, let's talk about some of the details. Let's get into probably some of the villains because I know people are probably
Sure.
interested about that. So, let's talk about let's see, the villain you faced.
Yeah, sure. Spot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not Spot. That's
No,
not
that's the
bad.
location.
There we go. Ah, come back, Spot. He disappeared. Come back.
That's incredible.
Okay, here he
Screaming,
is.
screaming, yeah.
So Spot. So very cool hero. I actually really like how he worked. So if you haven't seen Derrick's play, go check it out. He did a fantastic job showing this one. But you have these additional tokens, which I actually have with me. I'll show you what they look like close up here. But what they are, let me talk this way so you can see what I'm talking about. Here's the tokens. On the other side, they have letters. So A, B, C, D, E, F is what it is. And what these are going to define, you can mix them up, put them on the board, and then instead of moving 2, 3, or 4 spaces, he will go directly to a letter.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's basically him porting around, right? Because his thing
Mhm.
is he's got all these spots on them. He can throw them in space, and they're basically portals. So for him,
Yeah, so he's just warping around the board.
yep.
When I saw this, when I saw this, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Because I had prior to getting the Spider-Geddon, I've been working with Dave, the version architect, as well as Meeple Monkey, as well as Helios, and all these other people who've been leading the homebrew content. And I created Toad, and Toad has tokens that makes him hop all over the board. When I saw this, I was like, "We think alike." Yes. So, but yeah, the teleporting I think is cool. I think that's very unique. That to have him porting all over the board. I love that his health is so low,
Yeah,
but it's not
right.
because of another mechanic that comes with him, which is he starts with crisis tokens on him, and anytime he takes a hit, he portals away from you.
Right.
So it's not like, okay, you can hit him 4 times and then he portals. If you hit him once, he portals away. And so it adds, and you have to get rid of the crisis tokens before you can kill him, which I think is cool. So you try to hit him and pop, he goes to another location. So now you've got to go chase him down, hit him again, hit him again. So get rid of the crisis tokens until you can beat him, which I think is a really cool mechanic.
I agree. Now he's pretty
Um,
tricky though too because his BAM effect,
yeah,
he will try to BAM in his spot. If he can't, he looks to the next letter with any heroes. If there's no more heroes there, he goes next letter. He keeps looking at the next letter in order until it gets maybe wrapped around from F to A until he finds a hero, and then he hits them. And so he's constantly punching heroes. And to
yeah,
make matters worse, he has a threat card out there that says damage from him is
yeah.
preventable.
Yep, 3 threat cards that say that nonsense.
Yep.
And then he has another 3 threat cards that says that if overflow happens in his location, in the location that if overflow happens in the location and no heroes there, a hero takes damage anyway from
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you're getting hit. And his game is to basically master plan card out as quickly as possible, because if you're KO'd, he bams again and then he puts another master plan card face down.
The interesting thing about him is he can chain real easily because those attacks are unavoidable, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
And from what I gather, when you, Colin, and who else played with you? Was it Nick that played with y'all?
it might have been Nick.
Yeah, but you all had a rough go of fighting
Yeah.
against him your first time out.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get close to beating him. And there's one thing I'll mention about him. I think I like him a lot, but for us, I think the order of those portal tokens can make him a little swingy in a sense.
Yep.
If they're close to each other, like A to B and C are nearby each other, he's just jumping one spot. But if A is
Right.
here and then B is on the other side of the board, well, now he's jumping across the board. And
Yeah.
so hit him once, and you might be able to hit him again if he doesn't go too far. But if he jumps across the board, that's basically not
Makes it
possible.
harder to get to him
Yeah,
to hit him again. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't think it's a major factor, but just something I noticed. So regardless, he is. I think he's really fun to play against. Is he
Yeah.
very difficult? I don't
For
know.
me, no.
Yeah, you've been rocking it.
So I first fought him at the demo at the Spin Master booth, and I was playing with two other people who are well known and well good at playing Marvel United, and one other person who was new. So we helped the new person kind of understand how the game worked, and we took him down fairly easily, right? So when I ran into Steve was like, "Well, how was it?" I said, "Well, I fought Spot, but he was easy." And Steve was like, oh, "Okay, no big deal." So he fought the rest of them and said, "Whoa, these ones are tough." And then I kept saying, "Okay, well, when you fight Spot, that's probably the easy one for people to get into." And then he fought Spot and and I all I heard from him and Colin were, "Did you say this was easy?" I was like, "What?" So then you and I played him and we beat him.
Yeah, we did.
And so I don't think I've lost the Spot yet. But I understand how he works, so therefore I could take him down fairly easily based on who I'm using. I know that there's combinations that'll make it really harder, but he is a fun fight, and I
Mhm.
think that's the thing that matters is that he is fun to go up against. His portaling around the board is super fun, and I like that addition. Andre, I'm glad you and I are thinking on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I think they did a great job designing him. I felt when I played him, like, okay, this feels like Spot for sure. So,
Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was good.
let's jump
So
to someone else.
yeah.
Let's jump to maybe this character here, Anti-Venom.
Ooh, I'll let you talk about this one.
So Anti-Venom is interesting because he's all after specials. So he can remind me a little bit like Spiral. In that Spiral, you don't have any specials, but this one you still do. But he tries to get them out of your hand. Or worse yet, if they're in the storyline, you'll turn them face down. Hey, Colin.
Colin.
Nice to see you. Yes, he is annoying.
Maybe you can do better than we did. So, also the first time I played Anti-Venom, I beat him, but I've only fought him once.
Yeah.
And I played him with Steve, and I think we played him on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's interesting because he's got a track that is different lengths based on the player count. Because every time he like makes you discard or turn a special face down, he moves up that track.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to avoid those specials a little bit. But if you don't, he'll do damage. Uh, it is. This is not one I would recommend to start with because usually
He's
you want to
tough.
see the specials in your hero, right? That makes it fun in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And while you can still play specials against him, it's not a problem. It is you have to manage it well, and that is tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. And his bit, like you said, I mean, if you read the BAM effect, right? Each hero in Anti-Venom's location must discard one card with a special effect from their hand. It doesn't say you take damage, you just discard. He's
Right.
taking away that, right?
Right.
If they have none, they take one damage and must turn face down one of their cards with special in the storyline if possible. So either take damage or lose an ability if you don't have one out. So he's hitting you no matter how that goes. And then his overflow also affects. So he's for people who don't know the Anti-Venom character, he is curing you of your abilities. He is taking away your powers, and that's kind of how he works. He removes abilities from people, and so that's his whole thing, and that's his whole shtick. So as he's moving up that track, the Anti-Venom track to build up, what I really love is that not everyone is an 8, right? If you're
Right.
playing 2-player, it's a 6, and so it becomes harder, you know what I mean? So it actually level sets and scales itself to player count very well, and he's tough. He is
Mm-hmm.
very tough.
Definitely. I
Because
like
I
him.
think when we fought him, we were at 5 when we beat him. So it was close, and that was a 2-player game.
Yeah. Yeah, that can get out of hand pretty quick too. So, but yeah, that is Anti-Venom. Let's
Mhm.
talk about the next one, which would be the one playing tomorrow night. So preview, Morlun. So
Yeah.
I think this guy's a vampire, right?
Yes. Yeah. He's an energy vampire.
Yeah. So he's
And
trying to KO people. When he does that, he gets more health, and all his henchmen, which is a board full of henchmen, gain health as well if they destroy you. Uh,
every location is a henchman.
yes,
Every
everyone.
location.
And
And
if
they
he eliminates
all suck.
4, he wins. So he's just trying to like kill everyone.
Yeah. 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 Um all his henchmen are super power. I don't know if you have their cards to show.
I do. I can pull him up.
But yeah, but for his, as you can see, when a hero is KO'd, any henchman in their location gains 1 health, may go above starting. So the henchmen are powering up like Sandman as well as he is. And one of his, yeah, so you put up here, one of his is this one, which is Bora, who bam, deal 1 damage to one hero on each adjacent location, and she ignores the first damage that she takes. So she's tough. So it's like, oh, 3 health. No, it's 6.
Or
Or
4 if
4.
you do it
Or
all in one
4
turn.
if you can
Yeah.
really etch it out, right? So
Yeah.
just think that you have to do 1 more damage on top of her damage per each hero to deal with this.
But
Ooh,
that's a
Colin
pretty
loves
nasty
Morlun.
one. I think this is the one
Yeah,
you're referring to.
oh yeah, yeah. This one. She has to die first in my book. Verna. So she has 3 health, deal 1 damage to one hero in any location. So we get to choose. But you have to be very strategic about these villains that are popping up. Like that just being out means every bam, and there are a lot of bams. Every bam is just pain on everybody. So the KO it will happen.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so he was pretty fun. I liked him a lot, and Colin's here. He played him. I enjoyed him. Uh, and it's interesting too. He fills up the board. You'll see it tomorrow night. But
Yeah.
this, unfortunately, I don't really know this character very well, so I assume it's accurate.
Yeah, it's very accurate. It's
Okay.
later Marvel,
Cool.
like more recent years Marvel that this character came onto the scene
Yeah.
from what I remember. He wasn't around back in my day.
Want to talk about the last one?
Yeah.
I saved this one for last for reasons. This one
Ah,
is the best one in the set.
yes. This one is
Spoilers.
amazing.
Super well done with this villain.
Amazing character. This one is by far my best of the entire box.
I completely agree. And why do we say that? So, Superior Spider-Man, I don't know if his card's ready. I have to find him. But it doesn't matter. He's got the same gold cards as the players. But he has a separate set. And you see there, whenever he will rescue civilians or defeat thugs. And he'll put them on the mission cards. And anytime he KOs someone, he'll get a threat clear. And if he completes 2 missions, players lose. So he is acting as just like a player would, but we're racing him to complete the missions and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Super
Which is really,
cool,
really
super
cool.
fun. Loved this one. Absolutely loved it.
And what ramps up the difficulty, at first you'd be like, oh well, it's just him. It's not just him. He has spider bots on the board. Spider bots on the board that are doing this at every location that has a spider bot. There are enough spider bots for all locations. So imagine if he gets, I think he starts out with 3,
Something
but
like
if he
that,
gets
yeah.
all his spider bots out, every time he bams, every location he rescues a civilian and defeats a thug. So it burns through that really, really, really fast. So you have to be very strategic, very strategic on fighting him and fighting the spider bots. So his spider bots are the ones that do the rescuing, and that they have a separate 3 mission cards that are the exact same as yours, and he's just kind of saying I'm better than you and racing you to the finish, I think is amazingly well done, and playing it is a lot of fun. We fought him once We won, but it was super close.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it was very. He had completed one mission, I believe, and he was almost close to the winning the second one.
So I guess let's tie this all together. So we've talked about the
Mhm.
villains, we talked about all this stuff. Why are we going through Spider-Geddon? And I think this is leading into expectations for season 3, right? And so, from a villain standpoint, in my opinion, I think Simon does an amazing job with all the villains. Like
Yep, agreed.
even Spot, which I think I already said in the beginning, I really like how he works, and he's even the easiest. But I would love to play him again. But like Superior Spider-Man, how that design behind him is excellent, well done. He pushes the boundaries where I didn't expect him to go, and I am now more excited to see what happens with season 3.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot that's coming with season 3. The big Galactus thing of him being like standing on the world and blasting continents and different things that are coming. Sorry, I'm making you scroll. Sorry.
You're fine. I'll go find him. There we go.
Yeah, so he's sitting in the middle of the board and he's just turning and blasting different locations is so cool.
Speaking of which, we
That
did see
the
Galactus there.
I didn't see him.
Yeah, he's underneath the table in the glass. He was there.
Oh man, I
Yeah,
did not. I would have
he was
taken a picture
good
of
size.
that.
He was only like this big, which like that's what I want. Perfect. So
It was a decent size though.
yeah, good size, not too big, like about this big. So
Okay.
um,
Yeah, that's cool. There's so much stuff that's coming with it. The heralds, I think, are a cool adaptation. Where you have it's kind of like that. At first, we were like, oh, it's the apocalypse feel of him and the four horsemen, where the heralds are around the board, but it's different, right? Each herald plays differently, and unlike the apocalypse one, you can fight each herald individually.
right.
But I'm soon to rectify that in homebrew. So that's cool. The main one that I'm that the reason why this has us hyped is because if they can come out the box with Spider-Geddon with the changes that they've made so far in terms of Superior Spider-Man, Venom with the Venom track, and you'll be like, well, other villains have tracks, yeah, but other villains' tracks don't scale.
Right.
So
Right.
now they've decided to up the difficulty of the tracks by adding scaling to it. You've got Spot who teleports around the board, so there's a lot of randomized movement and, like you said, swingy behavior on him moving. And Morlun, who is basically, it's not just him that is like Sandman, that health is going up and up and up. Every threat is like Sandman, where the health is going up and up and up. As you play him, I think is a really cool addition and ramping up that difficulty of the game.
For sure. Nope, I completely agree. Um, so yeah, that's the villain part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more than just villains in the deck.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, in the game.
Yep.
So of
Mhm.
course there are also heroes,
Yep.
and we won't go through all the hero cards. Unless if you guys want to see specific ones, let us know. We'll show you to you. But the more important thing is they have equipment, right?
Mhm.
And so here's an
Yep.
example of one of the equipments. This is for Scarlet Spider.
I
So
get to
how
use
equipment
that
works
today.
is you get to just have an extra card in play. And to balance the game for other characters that don't have equipment, you would remove the double wild from this deck. So that's how they balance it. Um,
Yep.
I'm curious what you think, Derek. I felt like that was a fine balance.
I think that's a good value. That's a good balance for it. I mean, the equipment, all the equipment is really strong. I
Yes.
haven't found. Oh, now we've talked about all this different equipment that's coming for the characters, and we've seen that in season 3, but nobody's ever played with the equipment to see. That sounds funny. Nobody else has ever used the equipment to see what that how they work. Right? We just kind of read. We're like, okay, well, this is the text that says this is how this should function, but we wanted to see it in practice. And with this, we actually got our first view of equipment in the game, and all of them are good. I haven't found like in the Spider-Geddon box, they don't have equipment for everyone.
Yes.
Silk and Symbiote Spider-Man does not have equipment.
Spider-Man Noir also
Um,
does not have equipment.
which one?
Spider-Man Noir.
Oh, Spider-Man Noir also doesn't have equipment, but the other characters do, and you'll see that in Steve's playthrough tomorrow, where you'll see more view of. Actually, you'll actually see him use the equipment because he has to with one of the characters. But it adds a really cool feel to and uniqueness to the character. This is kind of the thing that I don't know if y'all remember when we were talking early on about our thoughts on season 3 and what was missing from season 1, how Cap, right? He has a shield, but he never throws it.
Right.
These equipment cards add that. And
Yes.
I think it's a great addition because they're not one-term uses. They're rechargeable, but at a cost. And I think that that is well balanced for this game. So kudos to the Spin Master team and the designers for coming up with this equipment. It works and it works very well.
Very thematic, like this one, as you see here, web shooters. Use it to extra move, which makes sense. You know, swinging from a web, or you can pull a civilian or thug from an adjacent spot to your spot. You web them up, pull them towards you. Like very, very thematic. And
Yeah.
like Derrick said, flip it over when you use it. You can recharge it by discarding an action token. So
So you have it to use again if you have an action token at the beginning of your turn to discard to flip it back over. Then you have it and you can flip back. So it's multiple use items. I mean, if you are I just think about like I know every character will be different and they'll back trace the previous ones. But if you are in a location where you can get tokens, you've got web shooters for days at the beginning, but it's only one term use per turn at the beginning of your turn, right? That's
right.
why it says at the beginning. So you can't just say, for people who say, okay, well, I'm just gonna get a bunch of tokens and just constantly flip, 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 flip and move around. You can't. It's a one time per turn use, but you can get it back your next turn by spending a token to flip it back up. And I think that's where the balance sits, and
Now,
that's where it works.
yes, that's specific for this one though, but other equipment won't do that necessarily, right? They'll have different ways to recharge them, and some of them are one-time use as well.
Some of them are one time use. What burn and gone. Yep.
Yep, you'll see with Penny, like for example hers, exhausted, remove this card from the game. Right. It's
Yep.
gone. So yeah, so this was fun to play with. I was curious how it was going to work, and it kind of sets up for like a big turn or like emergency button. And really needs a little extra oomph, and it's
Yeah.
nice having this card around. Now
Yeah.
I was super stoked for the equipment. I thought they could be amazing. It's going to change the game. Honestly, it doesn't feel. I mean, I love them, but it didn't feel as powerful or impactful as I was expecting. I was
Hmm.
expecting the equipment to take the season 3 heroes and make them a step up above the season 2 heroes, right? Kind of like how we generally feel season 2 is a step up from season 1.
Okay.
I don't think I feel that right now. At least what I've seen here.
Hmm.
I feel like
That's interesting.
it's on par as season 2. I feel
I
like
I
it's
think it steps it up,
you think
in
it
my
steps it up? I
opinion.
don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
feel
s- I say it steps it up only because so season 1 was, Marvel minus X-Men. So we got the non-mutant heroes in the game with some missing items, and they were good. They were good, but we got the non-mutant heroes. These were the others. The chemically induced, the serums, the all the other stuff that they weren't born as mutants that did it. Season 2 added the mutants and buffed the special abilities. That became the thing of season 2. A lot of heroes had special abilities because of their mutant powers. And so a lot of people complain that season 1 they have special abilities too, but it's just not more it's not as prevalent there. With season 3, these equipment cards to me take it to that next step because not only do they have special abilities, now they have equipment cards. And guess what? These are not all of them are one and done. You can reuse them and they add something thematic to the character, and that's kind of what sold it for me as kind of the next step up.
Yeah, I agree with the theme for sure coming out, and I do think it adds to the decision space with playing a game, and I think both those jumped up for sure. I guess what I
Mhm.
was saying is that power level, I don't feel like it's
Oh,
that much more
okay.
powerful. I
Gotcha.
think it's on par. Like,
Yeah, fair
Like
enough.
if
Fair
I was
enough.
playing with someone with equipment and I wasn't, I wouldn't go in feeling that they're much more powerful than what I have, which is a good
Yeah.
thing because not everyone's going to get equipment, right? And I don't want
Well,
to go ahead.
they have generic.
They do.
They have generic
They do.
generic equipment coming.
Yeah. So there's an option if you want that. But it
Yeah.
comes at a cost, right? It comes at removing the double
Yeah.
wild, which is a very powerful card.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, regardless, I very much enjoy the equipment. I am excited to see what they do more with it. I just that was a surprise for me. I was expecting it to feel a lot more powerful, and I just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I felt there was more decisions, more theme, plus, more powerful, which is a good thing. And like I said, just different than I expected.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So there were some other modes that were mentioned. I didn't get a chance to play them. I'm not sure if you did. Maybe so, maybe not. But I know you read the rule book, so you could talk a little bit about them.
So
The commander mode, the solo commander mode, was included in this expansion that came with the new battle plan cards. I'll let you run through that.
yes, so I have played this mode kind of. I'll say that much. So the new solo mode is you can go through and grab. Go off this memory here. Three specials from three different heroes. No, four different heroes. That's right. Makes a 12 card deck. Three specials from four different heroes, and it's just you shuffle them all together. So it's a deck of specials. You grab your normal deck of 12 cards, and you've got these two decks. The deck of specials is your support deck. That's what it's called. And so during your turn, you will see two cards face up from the support deck, and then your normal hand. And you can play either one. Either you play your hand like normal, draw a card, or you can play one of the specials and replace it. Now, the kicker is after the villain goes, you must play your normal hand. But after any turn after that, you can choose to play the support deck.
Okay. Okay.
And I tried this out and it makes sense. Otherwise, you could like stall the game out. So it's a way to keep that pressure going that you can deck yourself. That's why they did that. Now, what I'm showing here is the battle plan cards. Is you can, in addition to that, choose a budget. It's either 0, 1, or 2, and you can choose two ones if it's a budget of 2, for example, or 1, 2 because it's more powerful, or if it's about budget of 1, just choose a single one, or 0, and you will get these cards. And these cards have various effects, like power restoration. When you play a supporting hero card, you can forfeit all its actions and special effects to flip two face up to two face down hero cards in the storyline. That's just a static ability. You have that for the whole game. So this is a way to help offset the fact that you're playing with only one hero. Now, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
played this yet with the battle plan cards. I have played the new mode with basically zero I can't remember what it's called, like a zero battle plan cost. So I didn't play with the cards basically. I'll definitely
So
report on it when I get around to it, but
yeah.
I I enjoyed the game quite a bit. My hesitation around it is it could lead to some more interesting strategies and some strategies that might cause some imbalance issues. Because one big thing about it is you're grabbing the specials of all these heroes. You can there's nothing stopping you from grabbing Adam Warlock special, for example, that makes you immune. You can just grab it, right? And you can pair that with some other specials that make him super powerful, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the big hesitation around it, and also the fact that just setting up the game takes longer because now I have to go grab just the specials from four different heroes and just in the hero deck. That's more setup if you have a
Yeah.
big collection.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I liked it. It was fun. I don't expect to play it very often.
Yeah, that makes sense. Brian asked a question. He said, "Is the villain health scaled for the new solo mode for the commander mode?"
Yes, kind of. You play with whatever it would be for two players.
Yeah, I figured it would be the because when you said there's the support deck, to me that support deck, if you've played a like Marvel vs. Capcom or X-Men Children of the Atom, those type of games, like when you build up your meter and you hit a button, another hero comes in, does a special effect, and then jumps out, and that's
Yeah.
what it's trying to mimic.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a two-player game, but the other one just kind of jumps in for a second, does a special ability, and jumps out, and then it's back to you versus the villain. So I would see this being a two-player health setup.
I think I'll probably play this mode, but also ratchet up the difficulty with more challenge cards,
Mm.
um, to offset it. But I enjoyed it. I think it's cool for deck building standpoint, but probably not something I do very often.
All right.
So yeah,
Uh, yeah.
that's kind of the new stuff that's in the sets. I don't think we missed anything else.
The only other thing that I could think of was the PvP mode, as they had the Civil War event that was going on. I peeked by there just to kind of look in and just kind of peek in to see what it was all about. And if you think about the Civil War mode, it's from what I gathered, I don't have the full story. I'm just going to speak on my experience, and my experience could be all sorts of wrong. But I think you'd pass.
I
Yeah,
missed it.
keep
Yeah,
going.
there it
There it
is.
is. Yeah, from how this track sets to go, it's a tug of war. And basically the more that your team accomplishes, the more you move the track in your direction, and the more that they accomplish, the more they move the track in their direction. So it becomes it's akin to the Iron Man fight of the homebrew that I did a couple I think about a month ago, where you are trying to win the tug of war by moving past moving more on your side than on the your opponent's side before the timer runs out. And that's how they've set it up to play. Like I said, I passed by there. I'm not interested, and Steve isn't interested in the PvP mode. We probably, and I say probably with like probably may play it once and then never play it again. Just for people who, oh, Servant Zero, you made that. Oh, that's awesome. Or you made it here. So but we may and I mean a hard may play the PvP mode, so y'all can see it in effect on the channel as we go through the season 3 campaign. But we will probably do it once and then never do it again, because we're not interested in this mode at all. But we are interested in the heroes that come with this mode. And the locations that come with this mode. I think we're very interested in that, but not the mode itself. But for people who enjoy that, I think that it's for you. This Yeah, period. This game does not come with any. Well, you said it comes with a campaign, right?
um,
Or no?
there is something that's campaign like I forget off the top of my head. So
Okay, all right. So
right.
I mean that's the run through. Did you want to run through any hero cards or anything?
Nonetheless, if people want to see stuff, I'll pull them up. Just let me know, guys, if anything you want to see. But while I'm watching chat for that type of material, I did want to say a couple of things real quick. So I did specifically ask in one of the live streams for Simon about their location choices. Now, going through here, and we'll transition this in a second here, but there are some duplicate locations, and I think the duplicate locations are necessary for the game. Meaning, you need to have a healing location, you need to have some location that makes you more mobile, for example. But we already saw in this core set more unique locations, and I remember talking to them on live stream like, are the locations can be more unique? And they said yes. So based upon that, I think we're tracking well because I'm very, very excited to see it. I want to see it all. Okay. If there's something specific, servant, let me know. I'll put it up there. We'll be here all day
He did
otherwise.
say specific. His specific was all.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is everything specific enough?
So let's talk about that real quick because that's the
Yep.
other topic. So
Mm-hmm.
there are some unique locations, and we'll pull some new ones out. So this one I thought was really, really cool. First time I've ever seen this. Bring out the locations. Will do. We're doing it right now, Brian. No worries. All right, Sims Tower. This location starts with 2 heroic action tokens. Heroes may discard any number of heroic action tokens from here to ignore the same amount of damage. At the end of the turn, you can add a heroic action token to this location or pick one up and walk around with it. I love this location. It
Yeah.
it makes it really fun. It's like, oh, there's a shielded spot. Let me recharge for someone else, or let me go there protect myself. Big fan of this one. What are you thinking, Derek?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a nice addition, something new, something different. I like that some of the villains offset it. Like Spot
Yeah,
was his unpreventable damage, which means it cuts right through this location and gets straight to you.
right.
But the other villains that are out there, this gives a nice little safety buffer. I mean, we talk about Morlun and his threats, his henchmen that are all with him, and all they're doing is just beating you down, right? So this allows a little bit of respite to where it's okay. Well, we don't want too much people to die, and we're not going to use Adam Warlock. So let's see what we can do, and this really helps.
I hope we see a lot more of these effects that are active even with there's a threat there.
Yeah, yeah,
There
I
was
agree.
one other, and that was Apocalypse's Pyramid, right? In X-Men, where it would always prevent damage to the villain if they were there.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Now this prevents damage to you, which is a nice
right,
twist.
exactly. So I'm since we already this is the first time we've seen for the players, and I hope we see more of that. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and what I'm really pumped about this one is that it's a three slot. It's a civilian thug slot. Truly, when you start playing, it's a two,
Yeah,
so it can overflow on you very easily, very
for
easily.
sure.
So I like that they have that where it's okay. We'll give you a place to shield yourself, but you're probably gonna get hit.
Okay, Brian. Since you mentioned it, Vegas baby is your favorite.
Vegas, baby.
Let's look at that
Hey,
one.
Pickle, what's going on?
Here's Las Vegas.
Yeah.
End of turn. If the top master plan card is not revealed, you may guess if it adds more thugs or civilians. If you guess right, gain a wild token and leave this card revealed. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of the deck.
This
Awesome
is
theme.
fun mini game. Fun
Awesome.
mini game.
Yeah, game within game. Exactly. So much fun. Absolutely love
Yeah.
this one. Uh,
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I played this one today and failed every time. But it was a lot of fun. And the trick of it, there was someone who asked on the Facebook page is that okay, so if I say civilians and I flip it over and it has a civilian on it, do I win? And Andrea actually answered the question for us in the chat. So thank you for that. Where he said, "No, you need to look, and if there are more civilians than thugs on cards, then you win. So if there is one civilian and three thugs, you still lose. If you say, okay, I'm going to go civilians, and there's three civilians and one thug, you win." Yeah, Brian chat didn't help me much. So but yeah, I think it's a really cool addition where you can come in and say, okay, I want a wild token, but it's going to have a cost associated with it, and the cost is right or wrong. And if it's right, you get the Doctor Strange thing of keeping the card face up so you can see what's coming and potentially prepare for it. Or if you get it wrong, it goes to the bottom of the deck and then you don't know what's coming. So I think that's great. What
yeah.
about you?
No, love the theme. I thought it was really fun. I like how it's balanced. It's kind of a powerful card getting a wild, honestly. 50-50 chance of
Mhm.
getting a wild. Well, depending who you're playing against. Um, but it's also filled up pretty high, right? This is one of those
Yeah.
tricky ones. Like what's the shield one? That gives lets you replace switch cards from your hand in the storyline.
Oh, that's the shield base.
Yeah, shield base. So that one is also similarly filled for power levels.
Mhm.
So very happy about this.
Yeah, and filling it all the way up to full to where it's just one slot open. This place always overflows.
Yeah, very
So
likely. So
yeah. Remind me, is the final blank space for a thug or a civilian? If you're talking about all the way to the right, Matthew, it is for either when they get placed. When you see the symbols, for people who are not sure, when you see you see the civilian and two thugs, those are what starts on those locations. So if you're like, okay, well, we're setting up the game, that's what begins at that location.
yep, exactly. So only for starting. After that, you can put any tokens in any spots. So
Yeah,
yep,
it's just the start. Yeah.
right, right. Okay, so that's Las Vegas. We got one more we'll show, and that is Horizon Labs. And because we have equipment in the game, guess what? We have location to interact with equipment. You
Yep.
may turn face down one of your equipment cards to recharge, turn face up any other equipment in the game. So,
So
very cool
yeah,
way
so
to
mhm.
kind of work together to keep those equipment active. So,
Yeah, depowering your equipment to power up somebody else's equipment. That really lends itself to the co-op feel of this game, which I
for
think
sure.
is great.
For sure. I'm betting they'll have a lot more, like maybe some other ways to recharge them as well. So,
Yeah.
I look forward to that. So,
Yeah, the other locations that are on there, I gotta flip them. I got my book with me.
those are the unique ones I pulled. I didn't pull the other ones.
Yeah, those are unique. But there is Loom World, which is the world of Morlun, and that one lets you move to any location. So it's the Shield Helicarrier, it's the X-Men X-Jet, it's all that stuff all together. It's that location, and it just lets you move anywhere. So we've seen that card before. There is the Great Weaver Temple, I think is one, where it's and one of the, as you can see, all these fill up very easily, but you may discard one card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to gain one heroic and a punch token. So a loss of a health gives you a little bit more, which I think is pretty cool. What do you think of that one?
I thought this was very powerful. Like, I feel like I'd almost always do this for 2 tokens. But you kind of need those tokens to recharge your equipment, so
Yeah,
at least in
yeah.
this set you do.
Hmm. There is the Spider Island, which is the negative consequence location.
Yep. So that's down here.
And so it says if there are one or more thugs in this location, you must take 1 damage. So this one, it gives you a little bit more breathing room with not as much, you get 2 free slots. But if you clear the threat and you end your turn there, and there's a thug in that location, you're in trouble. So you have to be careful of that one. There is the Parker residence, which is just like Shuri's lab, just like Hala, which is basically the healing card. That one says that you can, if you have 1 or 2 cards in hand, you may draw 1 card. It's the same like the Brooklyn residence before, so more healing, right? And I think healing is important, especially when you're fighting somebody like Spot that deals 1 damage to you all the time. That healing would be helpful. And did I miss any? I missed
Japan's the last one you
Japan.
didn't mention.
Japan. There is Japan, and that one states if there are at least 2 empty slots on this location, you can add 2 thugs there to gain 1 move or 1 heroic or 1 punch token. This one seems less worth it, in my opinion.
I think it's situational.
Unless,
There's another
yeah,
card, another location that does a similar thing. We can add civilians to it,
mhm.
and it's very useful
Brooklyn
in
Bridge.
certain.
Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. This one I can see being very useful in Phoenix. I want to say where she doesn't add thugs. There's some villain that
Um,
doesn't, and so if you don't take your thugs right away, or maybe civilians, one of the two. If you don't take them right away, you're done. You can never complete that goal. This will give you an
yeah.
opportunity for doing so now.
That makes sense. So yeah, it is very situational. Good point. Good point.
So
I'm trying to think if there are. Are there any questions y'all have towards? Because we've covered the locations, we've covered the villains, we haven't covered the heroes yet. In terms of, I guess, in terms of expectations for season 3 and how it says that this ups our expectations, we talked about the equipment cards. Um,
the
we talked about the commander mode. Go ahead.
the other thing I'll mention is the Spider team. The Spider are leading into it. The Spider heroes, they all had a way to a card that kind of represents Spider senses and be able to dodge, but there were variations on it. Like not everyone dodged the same way. Spider Noir, for example, he needs to be by himself. He's a loner in order to trigger. Other ones
Mhm.
like Silk, she can dodge and prevent damage. Other ones could only just dodge. Some of them could just prevent damage. So it was interesting to see how that approach. But I bring this up because they all had this consistent hook that made them feel like the Spider team. which drives me into my excitement for the set, the team decks. I am so excited to see what they do with that because I think we're already seeing nods of it here and how they approach these hero designs, and I'm really excited to see how that is further enveloped in those team decks.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Do you have the Spider Sense cards to show the variants?
Yeah, I can show them up.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's what people want to see.
Servant Zero said he wants to see everything.
That's true. That's true. So let's pull up a couple of these just so you to illustrate the point further, and then that might be it. So here's,
Yeah.
for example, Scarlet Spider, his dodge effect. So he gains a wild token. As long as it's face up in the storyline, you may discard any number of wild tokens to ignore the same amount of damage. So he just prevents damage with wilds. Similarly, here is Spider-Man Noir. As long as face up in the storyline, if you are alone in your location, you may ignore 1 damage dealt by a threat in each villain turn. It's a little bit different. It's kind of cool. Another one, let's pull up, since I mentioned it. Silk, for example. As long as this card's face up, once per villain turn, if a villain ends in your location, you can move, and then you ignore the first damage. And you'll see that, so there's a big theme going on with all this stuff. I think there's one other I can show. That one doesn't have one. But yeah, they all have, a lot of them have a different approach to this. I think Symbiote Spider-Man has one too.
I believe so.
Yes,
yep.
he has one too. Here's his. Just to illustrate the point one more further.
Which I kept calling him Venom because when I see the suit, I think Venom.
Yeah, basically. As long as face up in the storyline, once per villain turn, if a villain ends their movement in your location, you can move to adjacent ones. So they all have a very similar feel, but they're all slightly different, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Matthew has a question. When it comes to Morlun, does his allies come into play based on his cards, and can you kill them as soon as they spawn?
It's not a spawn thing mostly, so they're threats, and threats are always in play until they're removed. Some threats need to be removed with the majority of threats need to be removed with heroic actions.
That's right.
Morlun's allies are called henchmen, and so the henchmen sit as threats on the board. So as soon as the game starts, you can start wailing on the henchmen because when you defeat a henchman, you've cleared a threat. Therefore, you add the threat token to the mission. And that's kind of how that sets up so far for you.
Yep.
Hopefully that answers that question. But yeah, you could as soon as your turn begins, you can start beating on the henchmen. It's just you can't touch the villain until you clear 2 missions.
That's right.
Some of them you have to clear all 3.
Brian's got a good question. For both of us, which heroes are your favorites so far?
I'll let you go first. I have a favorite.
I think Superior Spider-Man is really, really awesome, honestly. He's really cool in how he works. It's probably gonna be the common answer for the set. Now, I'm gonna go on the whim and be weird, and I'm gonna say Spider-Man Noir.
You did like him a lot.
I did like him just because he wanted to be a loner, and I thought it was hilarious. And the fact that he has this ability to target, he puts target tokens on the villain, and he can actually do some pretty heavy damage if he's nearby, which is cool. You have to think ahead and plan ahead. I enjoyed that. So
yeah. Superior Spider-Man was my number 1.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
He is just fun. He is his spider bots that you have to fight him. When you fight him as a villain, he uses the spider bots against you. When you play with him, you get to use the spider bots, and they are a lot of fun to use. They are a lot of fun to make use of, and his cards just play really well with the set. So Superior Spider-Man is my favorite hero from my side.
I think Anti-Venom, if I play him more, he might become
and I haven't played him yet. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play him yet.
Yeah, he has a similar thing with Silk. Silk has this ability too, where if it's face up and there's no movement, he gets a free movement. So very mobile. And Anti-Venom he's a healing guy, and I love that stuff. I love support. So
yeah, because I think the only other healer is Shuri.
Well, he doesn't heal exactly. He removes the crisis tokens, right? He cures them.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's a crisis token mitigator, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
hey Max, thanks for the sub, by the way. What's the timing on Symbiote Spider-Man's move? Does he move as soon as the villain moves and before resolving the threat of the master plan card? Very good question. So, how this works is, um, you get to move if he lands in your spot. That's how
so
it
end
works.
turn.
Yeah. So as soon as he lands in your spot, then you can choose to move to adjacent one. That's a little bit different. No, it's the same thing.
Well, yeah, and it's think of it as if you've ever played Arkham Horror or any of the other Fantasy Flight LCGs where there's windows of fast actions.
Right.
This is the window of fast action between movement and then bam.
Right. You get the whole point is you avoid the ban. That's what it comes down to.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
And generally, when I mean, as soon as you flip that card over, you see it's gonna land on you. You can immediately move. So,
Yep.
the other one that was like that too was Spiral Hero, who had the ability to teleport people out of our space. So you saw the
Yep.
card, you knew you could move there. You can then teleport people away. So
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a really nice spider sense of him kind of like backflipping out of the location
yeah,
to get away, which I think is a nice addition.
again, very thematic. So
Yep.
very cool. Cool. I think that's what I had for this one. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring up or chat about?
Any questions from y'all about the setup? So that's our favorite villain and hero are the same. Well, for me, I
Surprise!
I haven't played Anti-Venom yet, but Superior Spider-Man as a villain is amazing. I think when we first fought him on Saturday, everybody was like, "Well, what are these cards for?" Well, what happens when we run out of threat? And Steve had to go to the rule book to find out what was going on.
Now,
Uh,
there is
oh,
one big con to Superior Spider-Man, but I'll leave that as a surprise later.
okay. All
So
right.
that's
Oh,
why.
yes, there is. And we'll leave that as a surprise for
Yeah,
y'all
yeah.
to discover. I forgot about that card.
Yep, yep. There's something in there. So
Yeah, that card's a little bit of ouch. Okay, so did I miss when it's coming to retail? All right, story time. So Amazon jumped the gun twice where they said, okay, the before Gen Con they opened it up and they said that okay, Marvel United Spider-Geddon is up for pre-order. And the first round of people jumped on it, and before Spin Masters got to them and said, "That's a lie, take it down." So they canceled that order, and they canceled everybody's one and said, "Oops, sorry." And then they did it again, and they did it again. And this time I hopped on it, but they did it again, and they said, "Okay, well, it's up for pre-order." Someone on Facebook posted it, and I was like, "Okay, I might not get it at Gen Con, so let me pick up a pre-order copy." The pre-order copy was supposed to arrive Wednesday before Gen Con, right? On Wednesday, it sounds like Spin Master and Amazon had it out, and Amazon then bumped it to September. And and they tried to be slick with it by saying, "All right, we're bumping this to September. Do you want to keep it, or we could refund your money?" And my response was, "I want to keep it." So everyone else probably did the same thing, saying, "No, I don't want you to refund my money. I want to get my game." And Amazon said, "Okay, well, we're gonna send you your game. We don't know when we're gonna send you your game," but then they said September, and then during Gen Con, it pushed all the way to December. And so right now, the sitting date of release in the United States, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the United States, the sitting release date, I'll tell you the precise date, 1 second. Here it is. December 4th is the sitting release date of it. If you try to go to Amazon and find it now, they've taken down the site completely. The true release date of the game, the hitting street date on retail, where you can pick it up at Target, where you can pick it up at Amazon, where you can pick it up at your favorite local game store who has decided to order, is December 1st. Shipping, if you go through Amazon, is not going to hit you until December 4th. So the full-on release date of it is street date is December 1st. And so for people who are waiting to get their hands on this game, that's when it's coming. And I think if my dates are jumped correctly, I think that that means that that's the halfway marker for season 3.
That would make sense. Yeah, I was trying to see if there's a date on here. I don't see one.
No, they didn't put a date on there on the Facebook page. They did make mention to, I think they did at the top of this one. Go all the way to the top
We'll
where
get my
it
hands on it.
said,
First stage will be offered at Gen Con August 3rd. After that, it should be happening in October, they say.
yeah, and it got pushed out of October. Now it's December.
I assume it's just Amazon just like, oh crap, we don't make this mistake a third time, right? That's my guess. I'm guessing it's probably coming out in October, my guess.
And that would be great if it came out in October. But from what I'm seeing of it is that it's saying, as I look on Amazon right now on my pre-order, and I'll go back to that real quick. I'm not going to share it on screen. I'm just going to read it off. But it says release date. The release date is Friday, December 1st.
Yeah.
So
long story short, we don't know.
Yeah, long story short, we don't know. We just have the information that's told to us, right? That's printed to us. So prior to Gen Con, in this update, the first time that Amazon put it live, Spin Master said October.
Yep.
After Gen Con, it says December. So we'll, as more news comes out about it, watch the community, watch all that other stuff. We'll, the people who are watching it a lot closer than we are, and we're watching it pretty close, we'll be able to get that news out faster than we can. When are you going to stream this on the channel? Well, Matthew, funny story. Today, I streamed against Spot today. And tomorrow, Steve is taking on Morlun. And then next week, we're going to fight some more villains and see how that goes until we play it all.
Yep.
So y'all will see everything. Steve, are you, I'm not to put you on the spot, I'm just kind of asking curiosity. Are you considering doing the commander for one of your plays or
Possibly,
no? If
I
not,
haven't decided yet.
okay. I mean, I could do it. I don't care. But I was just kind of curious if you were interested in doing that.
Yeah. I just want to make sure
we can
people
talk
get
about
the news and the coverage they want. So
yeah.
We'll work out between the two of us. I'm sure one of us will do it. So
yeah. So you'll get to see. You should be able to see everything that comes in the Spider-Geddon box on our channels within the coming weeks.
I'll also throw it out there that we did get our hands on Sinister, the promo.
Yes.
So we'll be able to show that to you as well in case that's something you want to pursue or try to get a print of that. Assuming that can happen as well. So
yeah, I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna reach out to the dev and just be like, there's some inherent bias going on, and can we rectify that by letting the community? I mean, he knows. I know for a fact he knows that Grey Hulk and Juggernaut are out in the ether, and he doesn't care. So I'm wondering if once I reach out, if he says it's okay, then I'll just get that information to the people who did the previous ones and just say, hey, he said it's okay, so we can go ahead and do it. Or if not, I don't know, we'll see what we see. I just know that not the Sinister deck. I don't know how you feel about showing it now, or if you don't want to show it now, but
I don't have a prep, so sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. So the Sinister cards themselves are really, really cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
How he functions is completely different to anyone in any of the release seasons.
What? No, all the heroes are the same. What are you talking about? Joke. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Except for one character. He behaves, so he's rogue-like, but better in my opinion.
He's like a cross between Rogue and like Apocalypse type character, right? Because like Apocalypse, he's very powerful, but not helpful. And I feel like Mr. Sinister is similar, but like with a touch of Rogue.
Yeah. He's looking out for himself, but he's very powerful. I think he's S tier for sure. And that he he basically, so those DNA tokens that you take when you fight, that he takes from when you fight him, he has those DNA tokens and he uses them to power himself up,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think that missing out on that, because, and I'll state this again because it's a big thing for me. I don't like disadvantage, right? If all things being equal, I wish everybody was on the same playing field, and then we can see where we can play it where it lies, and where you fall's where you fall, right? But everybody's on equal footing. And that's where I come in with this inherent bias, because if you say I have a promo because I want people to come to the con to check stuff out, you've immediately locked out a group of people without thinking about it. And I don't think that it was with malice. I don't think that it was on purpose. I don't think that it was set in a tone to say that. But once again, I don't think there was awareness around that, and I want to bring awareness to that. I said earlier on, if there is somebody who works multiple two jobs, has kids, or going to school, or just struggling to make ends meet, they can't go to Gen Con. They can't go. So what ends up happening is that they never get it, or they live above their means to be able to say, I'm going to pay a scalper quadruple the cost of free to be able to get this thing that looks really cool. And I don't think that's fair. Okay. It could be so many different situations. What if, you were thinking of going to Gen Con, you were super pumped, and I've seen on Facebook already, on different on different board gaming channels, where people said, I've fallen on hard times, I have to sell my collection. So if they've sold everything they got, but they're still hanging on the Marvel United as the last bastion of, this is the board gaming thing I don't want to let go of, you've immediately cut them out because they can't go to Gen Con. So it's not, oh well, they chose not to go to Gen Con. They cannot go to Gen Con, right? And I think that awareness needs to be there when it comes to promos. And
Yeah.
I saw in there a couple people on Facebook being like, I can't believe this community. People are getting so upset. It's a promo. You've got 10 billion things of Marvel United from season 1 and season 2 to play. I think that I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. Do I need to stop? Do I need to stop and not do that? I don't want to run too much time. It's just more, I think that's a wrong mindset, right? Um, if that's the case, then stop buying board games because you've got a bunch on your KLX. If that,
Yeah.
there's someone enjoys a game, it resonates with them, right? It somehow it resonates with them. Somehow it brings them some sort of de-stress or peace, or a mindset that helps them get through whatever they're going through, because you don't know what somebody's going through because you're not going through it, right? You're going through your own stuff, and therefore your own stuff to you is more important than what somebody else is going through, and you may not see that because it's not something visible, it's something they're carrying with them. And I always say this, and I told Steve this, I was like, somebody could have lost their job, somebody could have been had their spouse cheat on them, somebody could have somebody close to them could have passed away, something deep could have happened, and you don't know because they ain't gonna tell you, they don't know you. But you need to allow for that mindset of saying, somebody is going through something, and if they're upset about this, getting curious about why they're upset should be your first thing, instead of tearing them down and saying, you need to relax, right? I say that to people who go high on things that they need to chill out on. Like when somebody uses the word crisis to me, that's where I start doing that, because I'm like, is it really a crisis? Is it really? There's a crisis in the Ukraine. There's not a crisis in this. So anyway, I think that I think that we need to be a little bit more conscious of that stuff. And when it comes to promos, to circle back, I think that we need to realize that not everyone can get them, because not everyone has the means to get them, and they would like to try them out. Somebody, they would like, if someone doesn't have season 1, they just have core box, and that's all they have, and they're like, "Hey, there's a promo that's free." Well, it's not free. It's how much ever the cost of San Diego Comic-Con is, plus hotel, plus flight.
Right. Right.
Um, there is a promo that's free for Sinister. Well, it's not free. It's the cost of Gen Con, plus hotel, plus the flight. So, and let's say you take away the flight and you drive, plus hotel, unless you're going to sleep in your car, which is not allowed in the city of Indianapolis. So it's just more, just be conscious of that stuff. And I would love for them to do some release of these promos, and it could be drive the hype. Let people like Lorcana. Lorcana is a perfect example of this. Lorcana had their huge hype that came out at Gen Con, and I'll talk about that in detail later. But all of those people have to. It's not like, okay, you can only get this at Gen Con. In a couple of weeks, it's going to be out in retail. The same exact boxes, the same exact starter sets, the same exact everything. So now you've leveled the playing field by saying you could come early and get it early and enjoy it early, but you still have a chance to get it. And that's what these promos need to be. It needs to be,
Yep.
you could come to Gen Con, get it early. You know, you've got the discretionary income. You can fly out here, get the new stuff. And then when you come to, and then later on, right, we're going to release these promos online for people to print and play. You've just leveled the playing field by saying, I don't have to, I have a chance at getting it. And that's all I'm saying. I'm stepping down off the box. Miskatonic University, out.
Couldn't say any better. I agree with Derrick on this one. So we've had a lot of discussions on this, and that's why we stood in line trying to get some more to give away to you guys. So
yeah, exactly. I really wish I could have gotten multiple. I even went up to the lady that was there and was like, "Hey, I'm a streamer. We streamed all your content. Here's what I'm trying to do. Is there any way for me to get one more?" And she's like, "Nope."
yeah,
So
they were pretty
yeah,
pretty strict on that stuff. So okay.
yeah. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. I look out for the I look out for the for people. You know, I look out for those who, like me, don't have ridiculous amounts of discretionary income and gotta save like crazy just to go to these events. I'm fortunate that I could do that, but not everybody's fortunate. And so I want to look out for those who aren't and help any way that I can.
And anything to avoid those scalpers, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, scalpers. Ugh.
Yep.
I know we live in a capitalist society. I think it's stupid. So that's that. And I think it's stupid.
Okay. Well, I guess that kind of sums up everything. So yeah, I agree, Elaine. You don't know what they're going through because you're not going through it exactly. Exactly. Just have a little bit of patience with everyone. Will go a long way.
Yeah. It would. I would probably say if people are pissing you off and you or somebody's getting you upset, the first question you need to say is, are they doing the best that they can? And if the answer to that is and I just want you to know the answer is yes to always that. Every time you see someone, they're always doing the best that they can. And think about that for a second when you say that. How does that change your mindset on somebody?
Right.
For instance, if somebody's not pulling their weight at work or making you do double the work or something, you're getting pissed because you feel it's unfair and you're upset at them. They're doing the best that they can. How does that change? How does that change the field? How does that change how you view them? How does that change your approach to them by saying, "Hey, I see you're kind of slowing down. What's going on?" Right? I mean, nobody is inherently a jerk. Just to let you know, nobody is inherently a jerk. So you have to find out they're being this way because of a reason. What is that reason? And if you get just a little bit curious about that, you'd be surprised at how much you and them have in common. Sorry, Steve. Go ahead. I'm done.
Nope, no, it's good. Okay, yeah, sum it all up. Spider-Geddon, very good set. Definitely recommend seeking this one out. I guess if you're watching this, you're already a Marvel United fan, and it's an instant buy for you anyway. But in case there's any questions, easy recommend. The direction they're going with this game, they're definitely pushing the envelope. I can see it happening already. So
Great
that makes
work,
me
Spin
even
Master.
more excited for season 3. Knowing Simon, they've been doing a very good job with the previous seasons, and I've no reason to expect otherwise for season 3. So
Yeah.
appreciate it,
We like
Kate.
hanging out with you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
We
we
love
like
having you
hanging
here.
out with y'all
So,
too. So so what's coming up on your channel, Steve?
well, you already mentioned it a couple times. We're playing Spider-Geddon tomorrow night. Against Morlun. That'll be the first one. And then we have a podcast Thursday with my computer. They're going to cover their Gen Con experience. Friday is going to be Marvel Champions with Peter. And then Saturday morning is going to be Derrick, Barrett, and I haven't told Derrick this yet. Colin is joining us.
What?
So
The
there'll be
mighty
4 of
Colin
us.
returns.
Colin
Oh, I
returns
love it.
for a co-op recap from the 4 of us.
Oh, are we? So we're doing Gen Con coverage on Saturday.
We're doing Gen Con coverage on Saturday, yes.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy about it.
So come with your questions. Come join us, hang out with us Saturday. Should be a good chat. So.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy about it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. What about you, Derrick? What you got?
Yeah. So I'm playing something Thursday. I don't know what, but something. It's usually supposed to be back to Pandemic Legacy Season 2 with Pac-Man, but I'm not sure yet how that's going to shake out. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully my package of my Gen Con haul will arrive by Thursday, and if it does, I'll do a video of breaking that down and unleash the footage of all that of the haul. Saturday, Colin, woo! So we'll have the 4 of us on again to chat about our Gen Con experiences. And Sunday, I think Cynthia, Kate, and I are back to Arkham Horror. Or do we have one more week to go? I can't remember.
And
So
Sunday.
and Sunday D&D. Episode 5. Tyros is in trouble.
We're all gonna die.
Kate is not available this Sunday. Okay, cool. So Sunday I'm playing Eldritch Horror. So
I
there you
love that
go.
third
Done
person
and done.
reference.
Actually, no. Sunday's not Eldritch Horror. I'm gonna announce it here on this channel. Hold on, I gotta move this over.
Do I know
So
what this is?
a package arrived to me for me today that I'm gonna play on Sunday. What is that package?
Oh, nice.
Call of Killforth, the 3rd installment of the Killforth series. It arrived. I didn't know what it was. I got a package. I opened it up and I squealed. I squealed. I may not hit a high register with my squeal, but I did. And I looked in here, and actually, Steve, I didn't tell you this, but there is a card with my name on it in there. So I will be streaming Call of Killforth on Sunday.
That's awesome.
They can't jack to work. Why? I'm so excited I have to play it. So I'm gonna stream that on
Guys, the third person's killing me right
now. So I will stream that Sunday to go through Call of Killforth for y'all to see that playthrough of that and Creel Manor. Actually, the Velwraith next Velwraith game, which is it's not the same Velwraith. It's different. But that is going live tomorrow. So
Cool.
Keep that in mind. I'm super pumped for it on Sunday.
Awesome. Well, this went way longer than I expected. It was a fun chat.
Sorry.
Thank you so much, Derrick. So
sorry. Yeah. So it's a good time. Always chat. And we could talk for hours about so many different things.
Easily. Never stops. Never stops. So okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you at the next stop. Bye-bye.
Bye.